What's up, great people, and welcome to another episode of the Fabe Effect Podcast. It's your boy Fabe, and I'm here with a great topic on today. We're actually in a series. We start off the top of the year with New Year, New Bag, and this is part two. In this part, I want to dive into more of a team effort. How do you make money with other people? And and I had to look to the GOATs themselves. Honestly, I've been on these guys for over 15 years. We went to college together. But what I've admired so much about these guys is they've been working together since we were in college. And they currently work together. It's none other than the city best that I know out there that's in part promotion, event promotion, business as a whole. Moguls were sitting here on these couches with me. We have Hit Squad on the couch with me today, and I'm excited to really interview these guys, to talk to these guys about how they make money, how they gain multiple streams of income, and how they do it together. So I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, and we're going to get right into this topic. Start with my brother over here.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Corey Felder, affectionately known as Corey with a K from the AUC and beyond. And I am the CEO, founder of this great organization we call Hit Squad.
Yeah.
Hi, how y'all doing? I'm Anthony Adigby, CFO, Hit Squad. Clearly, I'm African, and my job is to get money.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Paul, Sir Paul. And for many years, I've been known as the president of Hit Squad Entertainment.
Yeah.
So here we are.
So y'all, it's not a game. I'm really excited because they started this organization, this empire at Clarkland University in the AUC, started as college students. And I just want to really start off talking about, where did Hit Squad come from? The name, the idea, what were you doing? What were you and your friends doing when you said, okay, let's do something, let's make some money? What were you thinking about? How did you come up with Hit Squad, and how did you start that?
Well, it's a very intricate story, but I'll try to keep it as brief as possible, man. We saw a void. Originally, we were some kids from up north, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Philly, DMV crew, and we met up. My actual first school was Morris Brown College, and I went to Morris Brown College and had an idea of basically how to get the lay of the land for the AUC. And inside of that, everybody throwing parties was essentially the age I am now. And that didn't translate. It didn't translate at all. And I felt the disconnect. We came from parties in high school where the Hit Squad name came from. A gentleman by the name of DJ Tory T saw fit to take every poppin' person, if you will, from each facet of life. That's the dude who gets money, the basketball player, the poppin' cheerleader, the guy who could dance real well, the guy who's best dressed. Put them all in one crew, and most importantly, immortalize them on flyers. It was a way, before there was social media and things of that nature, of any sort of chat lines or any sort of MySpace or anything like that, before all of that, to introduce you to people who you didn't know and didn't see. So if you weren't out and about in in high school, or going to different parties and things like that, yeah, you heard about the kid who was the track star at this school. You may have read about him in the Sunday paper, but you didn't also know he was the flyest dude at his school.
Yeah.
So we immortalized him on a flyer, and there's a cross brand with all of that, and that was the genius part about Hit Squad. So it became something that even grew to, you wanted to be in Hit Squad. It was a validation of sorts, that you were that guy. And we took that exact same mold. And inside of seeing that void that needed to be filled, we saw the need for something that connected a little bit better on campus. I wasn't pleased with what I saw. I wasn't pleased with the experience I was getting. But I sat back and watched. And we saw the void as people who were going out every weekend. The options were very slim. We only had about 2 to 3 places we can go, besides parking lot pimping and what we called Old Buckhead at that time. You would go and either pay $10 to get in or ride the free shuttle bus. And this is when this was really first starting. And we got an idea to be a little bit better. So we only had a few places that we could go. There was 2 to 3 places at the time, and you were either taking the shuttle bus there, or you were showing up early in line trying to get in free, or paying $10 at a very maximum. Where the tide changed, this is before sections and before bottle popping and all of that. The only claim that you can get was going express line, which we affectionately call VIP line, and that was only $20. My friends and I at the time figured, shit, we could figure out $20. And that's what we did. We went as a crew, 20, 30 deep. Everybody paid that 20. We walked straight past everybody.
Wow.
And that was the cool part. That was the beauty of everything. And that got us its own acclaim and its own our own notoriety, as that's what the Up North kids are doing when we go to different venues. And then nobody had cars. So, yeah, we were packing up in cars and telling girls, like, yeah, we drove. It was a thing. And basically that idea grew into me getting a more tight-knit crew. So also the normal challenges that come with college happened. Some of the guys who I came in with didn't finish. They went back home. They went and got jobs. So the break apart started to happen organically. At that time, I honed in and wanted to be around more like-minded individuals. And at that time, I wasn't as rough around the edges as I was when I first came in, but I was still a kid from Jersey. So I wanted to be around Jersey people. And it happened in a really, really weird way. I'll let Ant tell his part of the story, but he was at another university as well. One of his closest friends went to Morehouse at the time. It was a 10-person faction, and essentially his person brought him in. The girl who I was dating at the time, her roommate braided the hair of another gentleman who was in the crew, who was from a southern part of New Jersey. One of my friends was coming in to play football, and I saw him during the summer, and he was talking him into making sure he was coming. And then the triplets were coming down as well, who were guys who were in his squad with me. And then we kind of picked up one other person, and that story is also pretty unique because what happens is we're on campus talking about how we can infiltrate the market, how we can be our own standalone, our own company. And we were having a conversation literally in front of McFeeder's dentist on the stairs. That conversation grew, and as we started walking and talking, because at that time, after class was over, they kind of started pushing everybody away from the area. So we walked down towards where the existing library is, and in that conversation, we stood in front of the library and finished our conversation. There were two people inside of that conversation who were there at the inception. And the choice of one person going this way, literally, and one person going that way is how we get 10 people and not 11. One gentleman by the name of Kayomi, he decided to continue the conversation and walk towards Heritage Commons, which I think is called
No, Heritage Commons is the Heritage
called
Commons.
Heritage Commons?
Yeah.
All right. We started walking towards Heritage Commons. And then one gentleman, Rashan Hassan, who actually started his own faction later, who's also from Jersey, had a meeting. He was trying to run, I think he was SGA vice president at the time. Yeah. He had a meeting to go to, so he went back up towards the Student Center. Mm-hmm. Kayomi became a part of the original 10. Rashan was just a homie. Because we walked down the Heritage and started the groundwork of what we would do for our first party, or so we thought. That friend who started at Magic City is Michael Bradshaw. His uncle was actually Magic, who owns Magic City. So we thought about doing house parties and stripper parties first, because that's all we had as far as entertainment was concerned. It was myself. It was Kamal and Jamal. 2 out of 3 of the triplets. It was Kayomi. It was Brian Johnson Logan and Mikkel and Ishmael, who was actually my friend who dated the girl 2 doors down from me growing up. And I ran with his older brother, Wu, who went to Morehouse. And Josh, which was his childhood best friend. And that's how the mixture of people came. And we started that. And then by chance, off of having so many of those conversations almost weekly at that point, meeting about just ideas, just ideating, I got stopped on campus by a known promoter. His name was AJ for AJ Productions, and he was the guy throwing everything. He was the guy doing the shuttle parties. He was getting out the venues. But like I said, he was my age as I am now. And while he was doing a great job and filling the void, there was still a disconnect. He asked us to throw parties with him, and I said, as soon as you're ready, we're ready. He said, I'm ready now. And I'm like, okay, cool, let's do it. And he's like, all right, cool, you want to be on homecoming? I'm like, yeah. And I asked bet that, and that was around 5:30 at night. So we know banks close around 5 and 6, depending on what time it is. And he's like, bring me, how much money was it?
35.
35
$3,500.
$3,500 by 9 a.m. What I'm not thinking about is nobody has an existing bank account that had $3,500. There was this wasn't a time where Zelle was invented.
Yeah.
There was no
Cash
cash
App.
apping, anything like that. It was all hard transaction in Western Union. So I went and had this conversation with him, and Aspect said, we're going to do it. $3,500, run it. We on homecoming. And I came back to our normal meeting spot in Heritage, room 201, I think it was. 111?
It was like one something. It was on first floor.
117, something like that. I don't know. And had the conversation. Shout out to Monet. It was her room. And I told them, hey, fellas, I got us a party with the biggest people out there. It was AJ. It was and Bachi, I believe. Was Metro Boys on that? I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember. But it was Bachi Entertainment and AJ Productions and Hit Squad, Homecoming, Tri-State Party, Turnpike. And that was our first event. And it was going to cost us $3,500. What I didn't take into effect is how we was going to get that $3,500 since nobody had no money. We were broke college students. I tried to make this the shortest version, but this is the shortest version. We took that $3,500 and we hustled our way into getting it. That is people selling parts from cars. That is people selling. One gentleman sold his Dreamcast. And just tell you what type of
Shout out to the Dreamcast.
Shout out to a Sega Dreamcast. This was people pulling back on their rent money to take it. This is people asking grandparents. This was random Western Unions from people, and then he's probably the only person who had money in his account, which is why he's the CFO, to add some money to it. It was a big hustle, but we came up with that $3,500, and it literally took all night. And we got up there, and he was an hour late, so we could have probably went to the bank. But we went up there. He dapped us up and was like, all right, good. There was no receipt. There was no understanding of a P&L. There was no breakdown. Literally. It was this long night of getting $3,500 by any means necessary. I'm a misreading rent. I'm a eat ramen noodles for a week. I'm gonna pay my grandmama back. I don't have a Sega Dreamcast. My radio and my car is gone, and $3,500 handshake, and that was it. And that was our first party. That party turned back, and we were scared of everything that we had sacrificed. And because of that, I think to this day, and I believe the rest of them can talk about it, that's why that party went well. I mean, I don't think I went to school after that. For like, it was maybe 2 weeks away. We were on campus, I'm promoting 10,000 flyers. Cool. I'm out here like this. I'm not going to school. I had my book bag on. Yeah. But I didn't go to school. No, it was, I was up there. And that was it, man. And I was scared. We risked a lot on our first time out, and it turned out, how much did we do that first time? $66,000. Yeah. Wow. So it was a good investment. It was a good investment.
That was the official, I guess you could say, not birth, but that was where it started.
Oh, that's where it started.
You knew. That's when you knew we got something.
That was it. That was when, because the return of it wasn't just the money. It was, to Ant's point, the acclaim. People were looking at us differently. We were already the kids who were skipping the line. We were already the kids who were the stigma. We're the up north kids, you know what I mean? And we were loud and we were obnoxious, like true, straight from home up north kids. And, I was, dreads, long white tee, you know what I mean? Really big jeans and Timbs, no matter what the weather is. Yeah. And that was us. We were fighting in the club. We were doing everything. And now we the people throwing the parties. And people respected it. And we had so many different layers of who we were. Again, Brian was playing football. Mike was had a real job working at Magic City, which was a thing. And this is before the AUC gets turned out from, that underworld lifestyle, if you will. You know what I mean? So it was a big thing. And it was cool to us to see the change and the shift of the respect level on campus. And I think we took it well. We did it well. We didn't make all the right choices as we started, true to any business, but we carried it well. I would think so.
Okay, so that's probably what, 03, 04 ish, because we came in 05. We came to Clark in 05.
That was 05.
Well, it was 05. Okay, so I want to just jump over to the man across from me. This is my classmate. And I want to talk about Sir Paul, because when we came in, we did the OG thing. We went the OG route.
Yeah.
And so we was kind of, I always tell people always like, were y'all rivals? No, we never had an issue, but we was similar in personality.
Yeah.
But then Paul took this turn to like the hosting and promotion. I'm like, okay, what's this? What he doing? You know, I was trying to be Mr. Clark Allen before that was Mr. Clark Allen. Right. Paul was too, but then Paul went this different route. So Paul, how did you get in his squad? Where did you like, okay, now let me get into this group?
So I got the Clark, of course, 05, so their first party. I actually was on another promotion team.
Oh, okay. You was jumping team.
Tell them about it. Tell them about it.
Dive into that.
Yeah. So I dive into it. So I was actually on another team that I had started with classmates who had come in with us that year.
Okay, yeah, I do remember that.
Right. So I was losing to these guys because we were throwing parties against them.
We was kicking that ass.
And they would come right at us, and we were losing. We were losing bad. And Kamal, Jamal, and Akmal, the triplets, are actually my cousins. So it got to a point where we were in the student center, and Kamal, who is the more level-headed cousin, was like, "Yo, Paul, man, you leaving now. You with us now. Forget that."
Period.
He literally was like, "You with us now." And I was like, "Man, I don't know." He was like, "Man, come on. You gonna meet Ant and Corey. You with us now." So we're going to student center. This is Ant with the braids at the time, Corey with the dreads, and
Ruthless.
They literally like looked me up and down, and dapped me up.
Come on.
And they like, "All right, you good, you in." And I mean, that was like really that. And they really honestly took me like under their wings. Like these literally became like my big bros. Like right after that, like was with them. Like Corey said, always in Heritage with them. Wherever they went, I went literally. Whether it was Hump Wednesday or the Market Thursdays or to go into the different parties or the clubs, the let outs. And back then, like Corey said, there was no social media. So we had flyers.
Yeah, flyers were heavy.
Corey had his red Jeep, so we hanging up posters, literally standing on top of Corey's Jeep with a staple gun, putting posters on like light posts and things like that.
Supposed to be putting on. Yeah.
That you're not supposed to be putting on. But
he knew that it's OG, but he still was like, you know.
Hey, I got in trouble so much for having flyers.
Because he was on both sides.
Because I was on both sides. Because
You messed it up for him.
I'm an OG. I'm SGA all that freshman year. And then I'm also a party promoter, which the school hates. Like they hate
He's
it.
had meetings with us about his squad.
Literally.
So it got to a point literally where his squad got blamed for every flyer on campus that
Yeah.
did not belong to his squad.
And you was the connector. So
Yeah,
it was
and I was
like,
the connector. So it's like, Paul, y'all these party flyers. It's like, that's not even our party. We don't even have a party this weekend, actually.
Exactly.
Like, but that's really how I joined, man. My cousins really took me under their wing, and then these guys just became my brothers. And
Can I jump into one part that you said, man? Like, one thing that's not really understood is the roles and responsibilities, and where we had to grow. We came in with this bravado of we these up north dudes and we don't care. The southern shit is that. Can I curse? I'm sorry.
yeah, you can say this is a safe environment.
Okay, this southern shit is whack, and I mean, really
obnoxious, yeah.
really obnoxious. And Paul was the first left that we took. And so when he talks about us looking him up and down, he wasn't us.
Yeah, Southern gentleman.
Yeah. You know what I mean? In school, both of y'all, and when y'all talk about the Mr. Clark Atlanta thing, y'all had these infectious personalities that were just so true to self.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can never say he's from here or he's from here. Y'all were just Fabe and Paul. And because y'all both had this idea of just this standalone I'm me, you know what I mean? It's infectious to people. I think it translates, and I think that speaks to both of y'all's careers and lives and endeavors at our school. But we saw that with him, and I didn't like it at first.
Yeah, sure.
It just was like, yeah, he different. You know
it
what
was
I mean?
like we was judging him.
Yeah.
So
it
we
was
had
just
to
like,
warm up.
and was this Mohawk?
I was
This is
Mohawk
Mohawk.
Paul.
I was gonna say that, but I left it alone.
I
I had the Mohawk.
Yeah,
So,
so it was so left, and I had to really grow into understanding like this kid got a different level of confidence.
Yeah.
My confidence was off the block. You know what I mean? I was me. It was how many girls I got, and our jewelry, and I got some nice hands. You know what I mean? It was all of that. His was just I'm showing up as me every single day.
Every day.
And I wasn't there yet in my life. You know what I'm saying? So to see that and look at this brother and be like damn, he talks to a different audience of people I can't even touch. I don't know if he knows it, and maybe this is a moment of truth right here. That's kind of where we took our turn as a company, because then we started getting people from different walks of life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was the very first, and it was his cousin saying, "Hey, listen, you rolling with us," and it was more of a family thing. But then once I saw and sat and studied him and really understood who he was, you know, I wasn't interested in being cool with people on campus. I wasn't interested in
they
this
knew
shit.
that they knew something you didn't know about.
Yeah, he unlocks a whole different palette of person, and
He makes his squad personable. He makes
absolutely,
his squad
and
connectors. Yeah.
it makes us connectors, and it almost took us to a corporate level. Like it turned us pop.
Yeah.
You know, we were grungy hip hop. We were Wu-Tang,
100%.
and you know, he went us and got us some Bieber fans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was dope to see. But it's not something I could have done. It's not something he could have done, or any of us.
Yeah.
So hats off to both of you for being your own people.
Definitely. Paul was definitely one of the people that
Sure.
I think we always looked at each other like it was respect. And
Absolutely.
people thought something else, and I was like, no.
You know what it was.
I mean, of course,
It was that debate.
It's that debate. But
That debate.
but even that, I think the next day we was like, "What's up, Paul?" Because it was like we understood the side we were doing something. We was just campaigning.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the brotherhood sense of it. You talked about it briefly, Paul. But this is the brotherhood, and it's safe to say y'all are friends at this point.
Absolutely.
How do you separate the business from the friendship? It's been 15 plus years.
I would say roles and responsibilities. If I'm being honest, everybody. One thing we've never had an issue with was with what this person did and what that person did. I've never had anybody challenge me on my leadership of this organization, and I never got big headed with that. My arrogance was a completely different person. I understood early on that there was Corey Felder and there was Corey with a K. So Corey with a K was this arrogant guy, and they all saw Corey Felder. And we spoke to Corey Felder, you know what I'm saying? And that's what it was. But for everybody else, we put on these coats of armor to be different people. And everybody started just growing into who that was.
yeah.
So Brian grew into his, Kamal and Jamal grew into theirs, Ant and Mike grew into theirs, Paul grew into his, and everything I preached and taught was be the best version of yourself. I do not want you to be, and again, hats off to him, be the best you. Like, you're being put in this organization to be as full throttle you as you possibly could be. Because I believe that every single juncture of person could bring a new portal of life. I believe that everybody who's a promoter or some sort of entertainer is just a portal for whatever facet of endeavor that they're in. And yeah, you can call Compound and get a section or buy a ticket and get in, but it's different when you know Ant and Corey. It's different when you can come and talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't talk to Alex Kidwan. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we learned early in. So when we talk about the brotherhood, we never talk in bravado when we talk amongst each other. We'll kid around with it, but I've never played CEO over him. I've never pulled rank over him. Or, that's not what it was. We all brought something different to the table. They allowed me to be CEO because I was the best orator of our group at the time. I was the best, or the most notable. I'm not even gonna say the best. The most business savvy person. I have been on 2 world tours for a record label, so I was bringing a different marketing sense. I wasn't doing the same things that everybody else was doing. We were standing on top of my car sniping boards because I had to do that for Luda's label. You know what I mean? And realizing how many needed to be in what organization, how high up they needed to be, putting them in 3s instead of just one on one side, making sure it's visible from McFeeders and coming down from here, understanding that we need to be out on campus at 2:40 so that when 2:50 comes, everybody's getting us, putting somebody on the line on that side and somebody on the line on that side so that everybody walks past us gets a flyer. Buying a certain book bag to make sure you can have flyers on both sides. It was literally a science to us. So understanding those roles and responsibilities is where everybody gets their level of respect. I am not a good math student. To this day, he handles my finances because I trust him just that deep. That's what he does. He has a God-given gift that he's really good with money and multiplying money, not in keeping money. So I trust him with it. I mean, this goes down to like my wedding. You know what I mean? I talked to him like he was Wells Fargo. I had to present to him, you know, hey, listen, I need this much money from my account to do this. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is. And everybody has their own role. You know, even when I turned over the hosting thing, he got better than me. And I appreciated that because he decided to take it and make it a craft of his. Yeah. And I could walk away with it. And that's just what it's been. We never play bravado. Everybody plays their role, and because of that, we were able to excel.
Okay, that's dope. And I know I always laugh at the fact you're like the silent killer. You just stay back, you pull back. There was never a point where you felt like you had to be something you're not to like. I guess when it became a celebrity thing, y'all became like city celebrities, and everyone knows you. I know you did the show, you did College Hill in college, so people knew you, but you still were quiet, you still were to yourself. But on this front, did you ever feel like you had to be something you're not to fit the mold of Hit Squad or what people thought Hit Squad was?
I never felt that. Honestly, our whole premise of Hit Squad was just allowing him to lead. So that was what it was. You know, I think Jim Jones said something on the podcast. He was like, yo, if you got somebody that's at the forefront, protect them at all costs. Because if he wins, we all win.
Yeah.
So that was always my mindset. You know what I mean? Honestly, the first time that we really stepped out and did some things on our own and like kind of stepped up in our roles was when we was losing money. So at that point, I was like, no. We got to start an account. This is how it goes. You're going to do this. I'm going to be at the door.
Yeah.
Paul's going to do this. And that's when we really gained our structure.
Yeah.
So honestly, I never felt the need to be Mr. Bravado or that was his role. That's what he does best. I'm not going to compete with that. I know how to get this money though.
Yeah.
And that's why I stuck to you. Always stick to your lane. That's why I tell that to everybody.
That's what makes it so magical because it's not just the fact that you are doing business together, but you are black men.
Yeah.
And black men, black groups, we can go to entertainment. A lot of times it ends.
Yeah.
At some
100%.
point it get, and usually it's because somebody gets too big headed or somebody I can't take him being in that role. It's always at some point where because I think it's a star power about being a black man. Yeah. Although we got an X on our back, although we're like the victim in a lot of situations, we also have this alpha male naturalism about ourselves.
Yeah.
And so when you see black men come together and work together, it's almost like that looks great, but it's a ticking time bomb. Eventually it's going to end. And I know, Paul, like you said, I think you transitioned. Yeah. From being like maybe a promoter, being over the promoters or over the young people or whatever the case would be, to being like this voice, to being this businessman, a part of it, and then becoming this host, which I'll put on camera. I think Paul's one of the best in the city. Just put that
Appreciate
out there.
that, man. Thank you.
But they allowed you to do that, and they didn't stop you from doing that. And I want to go to the next question. What has been the biggest uphill battle that you guys had to overcome in order to move forward? Like and personally, it can be personal, it can be business, but what is something each of you had to overcome in the business or personally to like keep this machine going, keep this company going? We'll start with Paul.
You got one?
I think first thing that honestly comes to mind is being like young, really like young men, like in college. When you get a certain level of fame, if you will, as we were that young, and that money, women come with it. And being able to have like the bro conversations to say like at the end of the day, like, yo, they gonna be there. Like we gotta stay focused though. One thing that I learned about women, black women in particular, early on in the AUC is they gonna go party, but they gonna be in class the next day.
Very much so.
Absolutely.
And we out partying together, and I'm in the bed still missing class, and she in class, right? Yeah. And even with that, that can kind of translate over into business too when you think about it. Like, I like her, but Aunt like her too. Like now we beefing. Now I'm beefing with a curly head or at the time light skin guy with braids because I got a little crush on Shorty. You know what I'm saying? But she digging Aunt more than me. You know?
My bad, man.
But just really like like staying like true to like, yo, this is at the end of the day, like we got a business to run too. You know what I'm saying? And this is like, it's a lot big. I don't think we realized how much bigger Hit Squad was than us at the time, or maybe we did, but I don't, like looking back on it, I don't think we realized like the magnitude really of like who we were and what we had back then, and what really we were like we created the blueprint for a lot of what has transpired in the AUC since we got here, and I don't think we really realized like the magnitude of it back then. So really just kind of like staying focused. That when I think women is the first thing that come to mind. Like, yo, like we gotta, they're gonna be there always.
So the uphill battle I saw, and I'm not sure if we're gonna cover this at any point, but it was just understanding that everybody has a different walk in life, and it was with our group in particular. It's 10 guys, moved on to 11, and to 50 at some point. Not everybody's gonna see the vision the way you see it. So you got to understand that and respect it. just because this person wants to go off and be a police officer, you can't knock them for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was the hardest thing for me, because it was like, damn, it's getting down from 1150 to 5 of us that really are running this company now. So that was my only battle that I dealt with. So.
A little piece of what Anthony said, understanding the roles, but for me it was evolving or evaporating. It was making sure that we move forward, and to his point, it was 50, 60 of us at one point, and understanding one that the numbers change. The other part of it was changing with the times. We were so gratifying to the audience that we had, and we were making money and stuff like that. There was a point where we stayed stagnant for, I think it was 4 years, literally, and we were still throwing college parties, and we were still up on campus, with Paul, and I had graduated, and we were still popping though, but then the rumbling started. It was like, bro, ain't you too old to be up this moment? and then it was like, didn't you graduate?
Did you graduate?
So we blocked it out with, man, they hating. Like, we getting this money. And we were. So we stayed. And then the rumbling started continuing, but the rumbling started to get a little bit more specific. It was, I ain't going to no parties like that no more. I'm trying to go to this, that, and the other. We like, And we didn't have anything to offer. At the time, and we weren't evolving. So we were slowly evaporating, and that was the truth. And we had to make a decision to do something that was uncomfortable, and that was to grow with our audience. And because we hadn't organically done so in 3 to 4 years, and we were holding on to stuff that we should have passed off to Paul a little bit earlier in life, and it wasn't a trust thing. It just was, we was enjoying being them niggas. And we decided to move on to 21 and over events. And it wasn't an easy transition at all. But we did it. And as we did it, our crowd started noticing. But what had to happen, we had to rebrand ourselves, because we had alienated people 3 and 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, some moved away, but some stayed, and they didn't have nothing else to do because we had carried them. If you ever talk to Pinky, in one of our first conversations about, even when we started Bar Vegan, she'd tell you, like, I only went to his squad parties. I messed with Corey, and my circle, her circle to this day is the same people. It's you, it's Crystal. It's the same crew of people, and we all partied together. We're grateful for that. Of course, y'all went to other stuff, but that's what it was. And there was so many people like her. You know what I'm saying? So many people who became, your normal 9-to-5ers.
Yeah, young professionals in the city.
Young professionals and champions in the city, and those same people to this day are vice presidents here, account directors here, and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. And we alienated those people, but then we found our way. You know what I mean? So then comes Life Nightclub, then comes Compound, Velvet Room, and all the other things that we started to do, and the Cafe Circus of the world, and our acclaim grew, and we started to get back our core audience. And then our relationship with Paul changed, and this is where Paul becomes president, because not only did we leave him the keys to the Maybach, it was, we need to give you tutelage to make sure that you're successful.
Yeah.
And then I also need you to find a successor, because now that's the model.
Yeah.
It's no longer, I got 4 different branches of people. Like, no. We're leaving legacy now. So when we leave, and when you leave, you got 2 more years. Okay, cool. So in them 2 more years, you need to find a PB.
Yeah.
And that's literally how it went. You know what I'm saying? And then you gotta also understand, we had a female aspect, a female demo, Lady Hit Squad, and they had to do the exact same thing. So he's president for real. He's president and CEO because, number one, he's the biggest on campus, and he has to also teach this young lady to do certain things. And not be viewed respectfully as a young lady, just as a boss. I don't want her walking into the room as with a quote unquote handicap in this male driven egotistical world. I want her to be seen as an equal. And it was important for us to get that understanding of any young lady. And if you look at any of the girls who've come, or the women, I'm sorry, who came through our organization, they talk with a chip on their shoulder to this day. I mean, and they talk to us like that, like, yeah, I need this, and they're doing some amazing things in the world, and we're proud of them all, from Spelman to Georgia State to Clark Atlanta, even a few we had at Oglethorpe and Tech. You know, we're proud of all of those women and everything that they've been able to do, and we're happy that we allowed them to show up as bosses. They were going to get in their own venues. They were doing their own P&Ls. That's what was empowering. You know, he said he's the money guy, not because he's not just good at money. That wasn't my role. I didn't even want to do it for the money. I was happy if he called and said, yo, we made some money, but I did it because we wanted to change lives. We wanted to be that void filler. I really did it for that. And even to this day, they'll tell you, I run up our account on just doing stuff. I mean, even at our restaurant, we just paying for stuff. And it's like, Corey, we got to slow down. And it's like, no, it's a showmanship. Yeah. It's a thought. It's an idea that we have to see all the way through.
Pay attention to detail.
Absolutely. And I knew my role. You know what I'm saying? His role is to make sure that we don't go broke with doing it. You know what I'm saying? So again, we passed that to Paul, and you know, he was in a very unique position to show, to teach, and to govern. And I think he did an amazing job. And then he also left a legacy. Our brother PB, who had, you know, I personally think he was better than all of us earlier on. Yeah. And you know, I would have loved to have a PB in our original core group starting from the jump. I can only imagine what would have been. And that was also a hard thing for me too, understanding who he could be, because he was different. He was a hood kid, but he's from St. Louis. He had dreads like me, but he had a shorter temper. You know what I mean?
Emotional.
He was super emotional. Love him to death, but we say it everywhere. But his approach to our business was different. It was way more aggressive. But he had the leadership. He had everything, and he saw it. I didn't see it at first. I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to get us in trouble. He's going to do everything that we tried to get ourselves away from. And Paul wanted to take that chance on him, and then, you know, it worked out. You know what I mean?
Same type of meeting, though.
Same type of meeting. I mean, literally, like, yo, I don't know about this kid, but
I'm just looking him up and down.
People like him.
I don't know about that.
And he's controlling his freshman class.
He said, he sold 200 tickets by himself.
And I was like, he did what? I was like, no, let me see the numbers. And he sold 200 tickets by himself. Now, normally, just to give you an average, a really good member would sell 30 to 40. A really good member, like a great member. To sell 200 is like, I'm not sure I could have did that in my heyday. So he led with the numbers. He proved himself. And wasn't even trying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't have a spill. It was just, hey, we want you to be one of our brothers. You know what I'm saying? And he bought in from the jump. And then he changed the way we did things. And he led. And he had his own crew. And he left a legacy. And he did it his way. You know what I'm saying? It was young hit squad. He made his own thing. He got party with PB. He did it his own way. And it was hard to let go. You know what I mean? And it was just an evolution.
But you used the word that keeps coming up is legacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you were seeing was your legacy make room.
Absolutely.
And a real boss, a real CEO can do that.
Absolutely.
Let go.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we always laugh at the pastor in the pulpit.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know how to let go. That's why churches end up going extinct, because they don't want to let go. But the fact that y'all were able to build upon something and say, okay, he's managing that part of it. And I got to trust him to manage it. And I got to trust him that he's going to do what he got to do, because I got to go do something else. Yeah. Which brings me to current day Hit Squad and what you all are doing now. You know, you got Tulum, you got Bar Vegan, you still got the party scene, homecoming is still locked down. Yeah. Like, so how does that feel now? I guess I'll start with you, Ed, since you are the money man. How does it feel now to, like, you all went from throwing parties to, like, creating experiences to now building a restaurant? You having a brand where now you are sitting in rooms, in different kind of rooms. Every room is beyond the party scene. So people can't say, oh, yeah, they've got to throw the parties. No, these are businessmen now. These are moguls. How does that feel?
That feels amazing, honestly. We didn't see past just throwing parties. Right. So we never did this to be Alex Gidwan, which we consider him the best to ever do it.
Ever.
So like for us to be sitting at a table next to him is crazy. To be even be spoke in the same sentence with him is crazy. You know what I mean? We never thought that at all. So it's just like, it's great that we've become that conglomerate and been able to do everything. Event centers, lounges, restaurants, like literally anything you can name, and still putting on for the city and the schools. So it's like, it's amazing to just see how we have evolved, to use that word a lot.
Yeah, a lot of times, a lot of people don't even know. Like a lot of young students on campus now. That's why I was like, I got to get his squad, because a lot of young people now. First of all, they're not really doing it. You know, part of they're doing it. They're trying. You got some young people out there. You know, I think the ones you say to be on the lookout for. I'm shout out to my boy Tiggy. I really, I like his drive he got going on right now. But I think they don't even know how this began and where it is now. Right. And I feel like that's another disconnect. And we got to fill that void, because they need to see, like, no, you find you a group. So what is that advice you give to like that?
They have to see it as a business too, though. Yeah. Like, it can't just be all about the girls, all about the free stuff. That's where the disconnect happens. Because honestly, if you're giving it to a person for free, they're not gonna really want to pay when you try to charge them.
Yeah.
So that's the issue.
Yeah, I echo those sentiments, man. So my shift, I knew I wanted to fill a void. I didn't have a know-how of where and how to do it. And that kind of came as I went. But when I got sent on tour, shout out to Chaka Zulu, Jeff Dixon, Ludacris, Aisha Obafemi, Portia Kirkland. I got sent on the Scream tour. And this is, Omarion Touch. This is Bow Wow when he first cut his hair. This is Pretty Ricky's debut album. This is Marcus Houston with, trying to figure it out. Sorry. B5, it was a lot, and Ciara and Bow were dating. That's that era. And it was a transition time for even artists. And what I learned on that tour was cohesion, it was strategic marketing and things like that. And I learned how to be a brand. It was up to me and the 2 to 3 people who were on tour with me to carry the brand and what the brand was going to be and what it was going to do away from them. Shaka wasn't on tour with us. Chris wasn't on tour with us. It was, when you get there, you got to make sure this is done, this is done. So here I am, a tour manager at 19, essentially. You know what I mean? / street promotions on our own tour bus going city to city. And our day starts at 5 a.m. before there's a radio interview at 3 different stations starting at 7 a.m. Making sure that the area looks good, advancing it for security, making sure security knows what to do, introducing the people, the contacts, getting to the venue, making sure that the food is ready. Where can we park the bus? You know what I mean? Is merch set up? Nah, like hang our stuff closer to Bow Wow stuff. Like, it was small things, intricate things, and understanding roles, responsibilities, and literally just understanding brand integrity. And that's kind of where we've moved now. To Ant's point, if you don't see it, if you're not in it, it doesn't translate as well. We got to see those older guys, the Biddy Barneses, the Alex Gidwans, the dream teams of the world, the Cloud9s, sit at those doors in old Buckhead and command a certain audience, a certain type of respect, hold themselves in a certain poise. We saw that and we wanted to do it. We wanted to just do it our way. So when I came back from tour and we were doing those things and looking at those people, we had a new idea of what it was supposed to be. PB saw it and he wanted to do it his way. Paul saw it and wanted to do it his way. Without somebody being there as a mainstay, it's going to be very hard. And that's probably my deepest regret of what it is. I feel like we're responsible for the void because there's not in us. We handed it over to our people, but there was no overall consensus of a person or an idea where the game itself got handed off. Like, I would have liked it where it was 3 to 4 different companies having that same legacy understanding that we had so that the game could exist what it is, as it is. But when I have people who are my age who have children now, or my little cousin's going to college and stuff like that, what company should I put her with? She need to make some extra couple dollars. I have no idea what to tell her. Yeah. What are kids who are 18 and over party? I have no idea of what to tell them. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that hurts because we controlled that for so long. I had 4 to 5 options starting on Thursday, if you let me. But now to say that there's nothing or nowhere that they can go, that hurts. Do we build a club or do we have a night at one of our spots that's for them? It hurts. You know what I mean? Because it's nothing for them to grow and to be into. And I know that if you go to Diddy, if you go to Shaka, like these are people who started throwing Kenny Burns, they started throwing parties at their respective colleges.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean, you can literally take the list on, and you know, whether it be them starting in radio, starting in parties, there was a foundation of sorts, and that foundation just doesn't seem to be there in the capacity that it was. So it's like, damn, what type of executive do I get in 10 years? What type of 9 to 5 do I get in 10 years? Because they don't have that. You know what I mean? Because things have gone extinct.
Yeah, I still, I think it's because the ideal of a promotion group in college now is every man for himself. They have social media, they have Uber, they have all these different avenues that come with it. That it's not a grind type situation. No more. Someone's like, either we gonna do it or we not. I'm tired of doing that.
Yeah.
I've literally had young people that I've mentored, and they be like, they promote parties one week and then they don't do it no more. And then it's like, oh yeah, I just stopped doing that. I just didn't feel like doing it no more. And then like, let me hit up the ones. I want to do it again. So it's not that grind like you said when we were in. There was so many groups doing it,
Right.
and it was like a hunger. It was like you was trying to see who was going to be the best.
Right. Yeah.
So I see what you're saying when you say you should have left. Every group should have left the legacy in a sense on campus.
Right.
But what advice? And I want to ask you this, Paul. What advice would you give that high school group, that college group of males who kick it every day with each other? They probably bounce ideas off each other's brain. They probably having sessions together, playing a game. They have all these ideas, but they never execute these ideas. Like, what advice would you give those students right now, that group of students right now?
Get out of your own way. And, I realized, even when you was just talking, we live in a generation, unfortunately, now the kids that were coming up, they've had phones and tablets since they were born. So everything is instant. So their idea or the thought of even failure doesn't really, they don't understand it. They haven't had an opportunity to really sit with it and to, like for me, right, coming up, throwing parties with my group at the time, and I'm losing, literally burning through the little money that my mom and dad is sending me, trying to make some money, right? But it put a hunger in me to say, like, yo, I got to correct this, fix it, get with the right group of folks to really make something happen with myself. Really finding out, I hated at Clark when we came in, they would say, look to your left, look to your right. They ain't going to be here in 4 years. I hate that talk, although some of it is somewhat true. But getting with the right group of people is really, really important, and having the right circle. And then two, no egos. I think one of the greatest things about us is literally, and Corey touched on it earlier, and we all just kind of play our roles. And even when we didn't, it's not to say that we don't disagree. We used to have what we call, what do we call those?
Air it out sessions.
Air it out sessions.
Air it out.
And that's where we sat in the room literally for hours and would scream and yell and literally air it out with each other. And then we hug at the end. And we moving on.
Back to the money.
We back to the money. We got an understanding. But being able to do that, right? You have to be able to have hard conversations. And if you can't, you'll never ever grow. You gotta be willing to have those hard conversations, have the right group of people around you, and then just honestly, and it sounds like just really redundant, but just work. Like, I mean, that's really what it is. It's work. Nothing comes overnight, and unfortunately, this younger generation now really is just into instant gratification.
Definitely.
That they want it like now.
Now.
Like right now. And really they want it for clout. And clout is a hell of a drug. They want it for the likes and for the followers. Social media does play, that's something that even to this day that I kind of struggle with because I get on, but I don't really use it like I should. But being able, if that's going to be your tool, then use it to really make it work and make some sense and make some money for you, right? And just staying focused. Like, that's what I would tell them, man. You got to stay focused, and you got to put it in work. And it's not always going to work out how you want it to work. But you do it enough times and you fall enough times, you'll get up, and you'll get to where it is you want to go. But having those right people around you and working for it, you got to work for it. That's really, it sounds really simple, but, that's it. You got to work for it.
Yeah. So I want to. It's not a game, but I want to stir the pot a little bit because it seems very kumbaya-ish around here. Everybody, they work so well together. So I want to just real quick go around like what is that thing that you like about the brother next to you? Was that thing that kind of like, it works your nerve a little bit about him, like because like you said, every group has their issues, have the things that. So like, what is that thing that you like about like Ant? And what's the thing like? Okay, and just
we probably had the same.
They got the same about me.
Me and Corey had the same thing about Ant.
Okay, Paul, I'll let you start. Paul, put it out
Y'all
there.
go ahead. I'm gonna go last.
For Ant don't want to spend no money ever. You can have the most amazing idea, and he's like, "Yeah, so make it make sense." And it's like it does make sense already. Like we just got to spend the money to do it. Yeah. But the other part of that is Ant is really, really great with money. I would say with Corey, I don't even know. I don't know what do I get annoyed with much. I don't even know.
I know. Don't worry.
What is it?
No, I get to my part. I'm gonna let you rock.
I honestly can't. Corey's greatest asset I can tell you is we call him the creative in our crew. So he is the creative. His ideas sometimes are really, really far left. But it can be a really good thing because sometimes it's something that nobody else has done. And sometimes it sounds really far left because nobody is doing it, right? So it's uncomfortable to us. So that's the great thing. I would say the bad thing. Oh, you know what does grind my gears about Corey? Oh, shit. Corey is the person that will let you set up for an entire event and show up right before it starts and wants to change every fucking thing in the room.
Oh, yeah.
And it used to piss me off because I would be at a venue or Ish or Josh. We at the venue 3 hours early. We done set up lines. Everything is where it's going to go together. Corey shows up. The door is damn near about to open or it's open. And he want to move stuff and come outside and run stuff. And it's like, bro, what you doing? Like, everybody's already in their spot. Like, go inside. Like, you messing up what we got going on out here.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
You take it.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
I think I'm ready because he's gonna talk forever.
Go for it.
We'll start with Paul. Paul, the great thing about Paul, he's a leader. He knows how to talk in any room.
Yeah.
That's the thing I take away from him mostly. He represents us very well. The bad part about Paul.
Oh.
I don't know if it's just his dancing all the time or what, but I'm just joking. Nah, Paul, honestly, I can't really tell you anything bad about Paul. Like, I'd be lying to you if I told you something bad, for real. Now let's get to this one.
Go for it.
Corey, we're going to continue with this interview. He talks too damn much. Y'all are seeing it right now. But
Fair.
The great thing about him is that he is, like Paul, he's a leader. He's a visionary. Mm-hmm. I always give him the credit, and I ain't about to cry, I promise. But I tell my girl all the time, stop. I'd be like, listen, if he didn't lead us back in the day, I don't know where I would be, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Because he had to, make us be stupid ass. He had to make us, he had to talk us up. There were times, and to see the vision. And then there were times where he had to just keep stuff from us so we wouldn't get angry or we wouldn't do something stupid. There was many times like that.
Yeah.
So I honestly owe a lot to him because I could be back in Jersey. I could be possibly not alive. You know what I mean? I could possibly not be making this money that I'm making. Yeah. So I owe that to him. And that's the good part about him.
Awesome.
Yeah. Don't cry.
Man, I guess I'll start with Paul. Good things about Paul. Paul is a good leader. Paul is, a person who has conviction, and it's from such a different level of what I've been able to do that he can run you through a wall, and it's transcending to anything that he's touching. He's infectious as a person from the day we met to anything else he touches, and because of that, I've always wanted Paul included in stuff that I do because it's a different thing that's brought to the room once he's there. I mean, from hosting my wedding to a podcast to even sitting in on meetings. It's a different perspective. It's a different type of love. It's a different type of energy, and it's from who we're sitting across from. You know what I mean? he's easily more memorable than I am ever have been inside of a room and inside of a conversation, and that's God given. Paul's negative, I and I'm not trying to be an ass. I really don't know what about Paul. I mean, I wish he would have won that debate.
I ain't win either, brother. I ain't win.
Yeah, I know. I was just, I'll never get over that one. That was a great time at Clark Atlanta. I want to say that.
Amazing time.
That was.
You could pack the NPR out.
Yeah,
We literally packed out the multi-purpose room.
Yeah.
Over SGA debate.
No partition.
Standing room.
And we were
only.
sophomores.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
We were sophomores
it
in
was
college.
Great, man. It was great. It's really nothing that I feel like he lacks. I mean, I think that even with both of them, and I wouldn't call it a negative, I want them to go even higher and harder at everything that they want to do. They do that already, but I feel like everybody's got an extra gear.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because I just turned 39 last week, but it's I got a clock starting now, so now I'm like, yo, we ain't got no more time. And the transition to him, like that's what he told me. He didn't call me on my birthday and say, like, yo, my nigga, you good? Happy birthday, my dude. No, it was, hey, we aren't playing in this year. We're doing really, really well, but it's not our really, really well. It's not what we set out to do. This year, we do what we said to do, and we're not letting anybody or anything distract us. And he said that as, a man with a spouse, a man with children, and, a man with everything that I got going on. You know what I'm saying? And to say, hey, we're not letting anything distract us. Everything has to fall in line with what we got going on, so that we're all going forward in the same direction. You know what I mean? To say the way that he speaks, to his girl about me and stuff like that, that's humbling. I can't take that lightly. So when I wake up and when we have conversations, I got to run through a wall. I don't have a choice. It's just that simple. And that's the way that he talks to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, get it together. What we doing next, big dog? And he pull up on me. I think he did that in the last 2 weeks. What we got next? What we doing next? That's an expectation. And it tells me I ain't working hard enough, unconsciously in the most respectful way when they both say it. As far as Ant, I don't. My only drawback would kind of be in line with what Paul said. He's extremely frugal. I gotta sell him on anything, and I believe if I can sell him on anything, I can sell it to anybody.
Yeah.
And that's been my. Anybody want to know? That's my secret sauce. If I can sell Ant, I can sell anybody, and it's worked. And but it's a hesitation, but it's in good grace. I don't take any of them or any things that they have as a negative. I'll give you my own negative. I be late to everything. And they hate that. I'm late to everything. I can't understand it. Don't know why. Maybe I need to go to my psychiatrist and figure it out. But they hate that. They ain't gonna say it on camera, so I said it on camera. They hate that. But yeah, man. I don't see negativity when I see these gentlemen. I see room for growth and room for increase. And that's not because I don't want to throw them under the bus, but they're my closest friends for a reason, because I want to be around like-minded people and people who have the agenda that I have. And that's who they are. And that's why they're in the positions that they are in my life. I believe that.
Y'all see how he's still talking? Still talking.
And you spoke about legacy. You just got to speaking about you have a family. You have a family. So I wanted to talk to you all specifically about the balance now. Yeah. Hit squad is now the hit squad boys are hit squad men. Yeah. And who have responsibility. You're about to get married. You are married. Yeah. You have a son. Yeah. Your legacy, everything. So how do you balance now being in your brotherhood, being in your business, and also still fulfilling the needs of your spouse, fulfilling the needs of your son, fulfilling the needs of your family? How do you balance that?
Honestly, it's still tough. Everything that we do is still new. I haven't been married that long to master it. Erica's a young lady who matriculated in AUC and got to see Hit Squad at full force. The person who introduced us was a Hit Squad guy. She was a cheerleader. So she saw all of everything that our illustrious university has to offer, and she still decided to choose me. You know what I'm saying? So that's a hat off in its own respect. But it's not easy. Everybody has needs, everybody has wants, and everybody has desires. I just have to try to be the best man that I could be for anybody who's there. And that's family. That's my mom. That's calling my mom back on a regular basis. That's, trying to show up to certain events. It's all of it. And now with the 4-year-old son, he has his own demand. And he's very, very vocal, which is really, really weird to me.
Well,
You would think you have the kid, but here's the thing. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. The person who I was growing up, I didn't turn into the person or start turning into this person. So I was about 15 years old in high school.
But your child got it now.
Yeah, so it's like he's at Corey with a K, and it's like you went past it. He has bravado, he has charisma, he's extremely vocal. On the way here, while I was in traffic, it was, Daddy, where are you? I want to see you. Can you FaceTime me? Turn the light on. Let me see the traffic. I want to see where you are. Well, I expected you to be home. You know what I mean? So we could play with the spider. I have these decals on his wall that when you show it, it shows AI and it turns the Spider-Man on the wall to a real Spider-Man. So he just wants to sit there and play with my phone. His mom has it on her phone. It's on his iPad, but he wants to play on my phone. And it's an understanding. And it's a hard thing to walk away from him. It's a hard thing. And I have to explain to him literally every single time I leave the house, Daddy, where you going? And it's a full conversation. I have to talk him into allowing me to leave. And sometimes it takes 15, 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes he cries. Sometimes I cry. And that's just the thing I wasn't necessarily ready for. So when I say I'm still getting used to it, it's all still new to me. I think I'm doing a decent job. I don't think I'm doing an amazing job, but I aspire to be an amazing person. I think I'm an amazing dad. I can always be a better husband. I can always be a better man. And that's the room for growth, and that's the transparency of it. You know what I mean? And I think that with time and with improvement and with dedication to cause, I can be a better person. And but the balance itself, it's not easy. This world and this line of entertainment that we have going on and the blessings that we have require a different level of commitment. I have to say, I left Tulum to come here. That's where we are. And we were talking about dinner and Valentine's Day. Yesterday I was there 7 hours and we were talking about brunch. Wow. I was there the day before still talking about brunch. And it's just what it is. And if you multiply that plus 3 different venues and stuff like that, that's the commitment. He does the exact same thing at his venue. And then he pulls up at Tulum and we're doing the exact same thing. And then we have an event Friday that we got to have a full conversation about. It all takes the same type of requirement. And it's not easy. That balance is just, it is what it is. We're trying to be the best. There's no secret sauce to it. But I actually said something, I heard something, and I want to share this, and I'm going to pass it off. Scooter Braun said that Scooter Braun is Justin Bieber's manager. He said that Jeff Bezos said, why does everything have to be a balance? Why do you have to have a table of left or right, one or the other? Why can't things that you love work in harmony? And I think that's the direction I want to go in. I think it is making sure that everything that I have love for, that loves me, that I love, needs to work in harmony and work together. That comes in transparency, that comes in vulnerability, that comes in trust. And I think that's what we built our business on. We know everything about each other's personal lives, and we're better businessmen because of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the harmony. So it has to translate into my son, into my spouse, into his spouse, into his kids, to girlfriends. And I think that's how we get better. And, just being transparent, that's where we're working at right now.
Well, for me, I don't believe that there's much balance that I just juggle everything, pause if it's needed. I wing it most of the time. And I honestly let my fiance know that this is what it's going to be. I'm going to work very hard right now so I don't have to retire at 65.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to do it earlier. Like, we so trained to retire at that age.
Right.
Nah, we don't have to do that. We make our own rules.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to be in control of that. So that's where I'm at with it as far as balance.
Where you at with it, Paul?
Honestly, bro, I'm kind of where Corey is. Letting everything that I love and what loves me really work in just this beautiful ecosystem with each other and just work together. One thing that my partner that she's teaching me right now is just how to really show it for myself. And that's something that the great things that they've said about me is something that I've actually struggled with. More recently, it's just like showing up for me, right? I show up for everybody else, but what about you? What about your dreams and what you want and your goals? Are you hitting them? Are you tackling them? And she's challenged me, and she's also challenged me in terms of being vocal and not only speaking up in rooms that I'm in, but speaking up with her, right, and communicating. And then the line of work that we're in, I think when people, at least when they see us, when you start dating somebody, right, they see the outside of you, right? They see like, oh, it's cool to be with Paul. You walking in the party with him, or this event, and y'all front row here and that. Everybody in the city. That's cool. But then once you're with me, that's a whole different thing because now, the phone might ring at 12:30 because somebody is trying to get a table at this venue or that, or or something's happening at the restaurant or at event space or something that we got going on, right? And it's crazy. You working all these crazy hours, and once you're on that side of it, it's like, all right, baby, this is who. Nah, this is you saw Sir Paul. This is Paul though. Like you getting like everything, and getting her to really like understand that. The last few months has been like that's been like our battle. But we're in a really great place, like where we can have the conversations and she understands. Like, cool, just communicate it to me. And that's something I struggled with at first because it was like I was kind of like I'm gonna go do my own damn thing, and either you with it or you not. You know what I'm saying?
No, Doc, we kid experience.
It might be the man in me, like it's hey, either you get with it or you don't. But if you love this person and you really care about them, then you communicate, and that's something I had to learn to start doing. It challenged me because I was just on some alpha male type shit. Like
I think I'm still there. But we're kid experiencing that way. I think we care so much about people, and we end up getting those places where we like do for so many people, and you forget yourself. You forget like, oh, I did have some goals and dreams I personally had for myself. Yeah. You kind of like weave your dreams and goals into everybody else's, but it's still not your dream. It's still not your goal. Right. So you said something earlier that I think needs to echo to a lot of people is love the things that love you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we can love things that don't necessarily love us or don't love us the same way. So not just love things that love the things that love you how you love it. Mm-hmm. And I think that helps balance things. That helps put yourself first because you shouldn't be up thinking about something or interpreting what somebody said. You should know what they said because they love you and they're gonna be real with you. And you should know how they feel because they're gonna tell you how they feel. And so I think that what's worked with y'all brotherhood. I think that works in business. And I think as we close, and I want to ask this last question. Well, not necessarily a question, but what is that advice you give to the younger Paul, or to Paul who's at Clark Atlanta now, to the Anthony who's at Clark Atlanta now, to the Corey who's at Clark Atlanta now, or in college anywhere, not just at Clark Atlanta, but any school. What do you give that young man who's like kind of at a crossroad and trying to figure out like, how do I make money? Like I'm in school, yes, I go to class, yes, I'm popular, all that, that's good, but I need to make money now because this degree, let's be honest, it's a great achievement for a personal achievement, but does it come with a check?
Not anymore.
Not really. You got to have a little more than a degree. Yeah. So what do you give that guy that advice as we close? What is that final advice you give that person that's trying to make that extra stream of income, that's trying to get out of their mama pocket?
For young Anthony, I would just tell him be passionate and intentional. Just if you have a goal, see it all the way through. And that's it.
That's good.
I'll say solve a problem.
That's good.
It's extremely easy and it's a fad to ride waves to go and be the next this person. Don't be the next. I'm not going to tell you to be the first. I'm going to tell you to solve a problem. If you have a focus to solve a problem, you'll have more longevity. Your passion will be understood. Your intentionality will be understood because you have a purpose. And you can only have a purpose if you're trying to solve a problem. That comes from the heart. You got to really, really want to do that. You clock into a job every day, you may not want to do it. But that career is transcending because you feel the purpose. You feel the difference in that. You're trying to solve a problem. You know that you're needed. That's what problem solvers do.
I would tell young Paul, don't be scared. Do it. Just do it. Fuck what everybody else thinks,
Yeah.
what they say, how they feel about it. Just do it. And let it land where it lands. But go do it. And don't talk yourself out of it. Do it.
That's really good. And I would say grow. And I use growth because in this moment, one other reason why I wanted to sit down with you all is because if I'm honest, I wasn't a fan in college.
We knew that.
And no, it wasn't a secret because I was OG Paul.
You don't think I know?
Yeah.
I knew that every election I got the squad question.
It was the lack thereof knowing what it took, knowing what it. All I saw and what was put in my head as an orientation guide is like it's a disruption. It's a problem. Yeah. It's disturbing what college is. And I was that kid from Memphis who was trying to run out the hood, like run. Yeah. And so I got to a place in college like I want, you think what college is supposed to be. And so this reminded me of home in a sense, like in the sense of like the hustle, and I'm like, how they gonna be thugs in college? What is it? Because like he said, he had dreads, he had big t-shirt.
He was rough.
He was on the promenade most of the time when you saw him. It wasn't necessarily in, and then you saw those students that couldn't balance it, and would come in and like throw themselves into the party scene and they be out of school next semester. Or they, so it took me growing up and like, okay, they're like this is a business. And I think when Paul got in it was like you kind of saw a different lens of it because at first it was aggressive guys who didn't really talk to people on a regular level. It was almost like they came and just took out the freshmen and said, all right, we got the freshmen, bye. Yeah. To the shuttle we go. Yeah. But then Paul got in and it was like, hold up, Paul is like one of us. But he doing that too. And so he brought like a humanizing to it, like, okay, these some good guys. And as we got older, as we grew up and we matured, it became an admiration and less of a like, oh, I don't support it. It was like, no, I just didn't know what I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what their vision was. So I just appreciate that. And I would have just said it in y'all face. I appreciate but I think I think it wasn't like it wasn't a secret, but it's definitely not that now. And I'm just really admire how you all stayed together and stuck together and became men together. So it's like it's such a need right now in the AUC. So that's my plug for putting y'all more in places where these young men need to see this and live with this. So I just wanted to say that. But I want to thank you all so much for coming out. I really appreciate you all for taking time out of your day to really just break down what is Hit Squad and what it is now, the empire is now. And I just can't wait to see where it goes from here. Yeah. I think that as there are young moguls, there are young people who are geared up and I think can take over this kind of ring. But I think you all are expanded so much that you can tap into the fashion. You can tap into the different things that young people are into now and still be relevant. So I'm excited to see where Hit Squad goes now. And you all, like I said, they're not just college parties. You got Bar Vegan, you got Tulum. Anything else you all got going on that I don't know about we're going to put out there?
West Side Cultural Arts Center.
West Side Cultural Arts Center. What days is that popping?
Every weekend. Man.
Every weekend. So
we got something going. We had Deeper ATL. What we got this weekend? Karaoke
Live, man.
We got an Afro Carib party every Saturday.
Awesome.
So.
Phil's is returning.
Yep. So Phil's ATL.
Phil's ATL. Yeah. I also want to plug our brothers who are doing things in their own field of endeavors. Joshua Sproul is director of photography for the city of Atlanta.
Wow.
So we're very proud of him and what he's done, carrying on his own dad's legacy with a camera. Something that he really didn't even want to do. We literally forced him and bought a camera and said, you're going to take pictures because you know this. And it's become a career for him and he loves it. Ishmael Muhammad, is a GM of his own car dealership, him and his brother. And his brother owns one. And it's been a really joy to see him take on what started as just something to get some money and really just dive into it. So we love him for that. Mike Bradshaw, he's a trainer for the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL. So, of course, I'm happy about that. He's not as happy because he's a Steelers fan, but he took the job anyway. We're happy about him and what he's done.
Well, I'm happy about that. Shout out to the Cowboys.
Shout out to the Cowboys. It's our year next year. Yeah, man.
Every year.
Who else?
Every year.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
What is it, Mike?
Boska.
Chef Boska. He He is actually one of the executive chefs at Mercedes-Benz Stadium now, making food for the homies and for people on campus. Morehouse graduate who took it and transcended. He's been our chef back at Oak Atlanta. He was our chef at Bar Vegan as well. And now he's at Mercedes-Benz Stadium under Levy. Drew is firefighter extraordinaire. He is, I don't know his absolute rank, but he is a high-ranking not the fire chief. I want to say he's the lieutenant. I want to say
be on the news all the
something
time.
like that. Yeah, he's the guy on the news now in the suits. We're happy about that and what he's done. Rich Owusu, who is also Morehouse graduate, who he owns his own fleet of Amazon trucks. We're happy about that. Jarrell Joy, another Clark Atlanta guy. He's legend on that basketball court at Clark Atlanta University, transitioned to cars as well. He's also I believe, a finance manager at his dealership. Who am I forgetting? I think you covered everybody. Is that everybody? And
Everybody know Party with PB. Everybody know Party with PB.
Everybody knows Party with PB. Can't forget Heem. I'm sorry. Heem is an executive at an IT company as well. Love him to death. Geez, might as well go back to Jersey.
Go for it.
Brian is Brian's one of the head coaches, one of the assistant coaches at Weequahic High School in Newark, New Jersey. They just won a state title. I think they're third. Jamal and Kamal are in the classrooms. They're lead teachers and teachers of the year at their school, Science High School. Monet is
Fashion extraordinaire.
I would hate to put a brand on her, but she's worked everywhere, actually on Fifth Avenue, from Gucci to Yves Saint Laurent to, I think that's where she is now. And she started as, loss prevention at Saks here in Atlanta. So we're very happy about that. Is that everybody, guys?
It's not.
Shout out to everybody.
PB, we love y'all.
And
Shout out to
PB,
everybody.
we love you, brother.
Shout out to PB.
He's still holding the city down. He's our legacy. He got a party this weekend, I think. I don't even know what state it's in.
He got a concert in St.
He got a
Louis,
concert
too,
in
so
St. Louis.
Let's go.
So we're proud of the crew and the team, and there's so many other people to name. So many people who are in Hollywood. So many people who are on TV. It really just goes on. Executives, entertainment, and things like that. We're proud of everybody.
And that shows you how, a group of people can come together and still go off to be great things and still create multiple streams of income. I thank you all so much for coming here. And remember, the best leader works to make even better leaders. Until next time, God bless you.